Hi, I'm Hallease Beast. I'm a digital storyteller and video producer.
Hi, I'm Mr.Hallease. I got 99 problems, but a podcast ain't one. That was bad. And I'm a nurse.
Wow, okay. And this is
We're back.
okay. This is the Beastcast, your favorite aunt and uncle talking about all things married and things like such as. What's our intro? And things like such as.
I forget.
We'll figure it out. Okay.
Roll the intro music.
All right, so today's episode, we're talking about conflict.
Yes, I think this stems from me looking and listening to some of the podcasts and thinking that, like, we're not coming at this from, like, a place of expertise, only experience, and that we are not the de facto experts. So take everything that we tell you with a grain of salt. And also, like any other relationships, we have issues. We present, not even intentionally, but we present a certain, level of relationship and interaction between each other. But, even we experience conflict.
Yeah, I think something I don't ever want people to think is that we've got it figured out. We're a well-oiled. Well, I mean, like we've found a common ground for sure, but we still definitely have issues. We don't want y'all to ever listen/watch and think, oh, they just always got it together. #goals. And it's like, no, we definitely still have struggles. For example, today, and I'll let you actually tell it because I'm still working through how I feel. So, yeah.
So I was acting in typical Mr. Hallease fashion, which is a little bit annoying, I will admit. If I was friends with myself, I'd probably only spend, like 1 day a week with some exposure.
You're so hard on yourself.
Well, I mean, I'm whatever. So I woke up in the morning. We had discussed whether or not we were going to get up early today, because if it's later in the day, I get sleepy and I need more caffeine and I'm not as coherent in the podcast. So we got up relatively early today, actually. But I went to let the dog out, and then when I came back, you were on your phone, and I thought you were just on your phone, but you were looking at the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith Red Table podcast.
Yes, I was trying to pull selects from it for a podcast episode for us.
I did not realize she was doing that. Second, I did not realize that the capture app or software, whatever you were using on your phone, picks up whatever's on the mic.
Not just whatever's playing on the phone, but the environment.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know that. So I came over and just did like a normal yawn, and she didn't snap, but she said, "Oh, I
was like, can you not?
Yeah. Can you not right now? Can you?" And then like went back to your phone, and I was like, okay, I was like, first off, you do loud yawns all the time too. Frequently. And it's like, okay, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I feel a certain type of way. Okay. Whatever. We just got dressed, did all this stuff, went to breakfast and we're not plugging the restaurant. No. Yeah. Sponsor us first. Mystery restaurant. Figure it out. So we get to the restaurant and we sit down. Man, I can't even remember the second part of this, but
Oh, we sit down and I was like, oh, okay, what episodes are we doing today?
And then I was just kind of like, well, no, you said, I guess we're doing the Jada Pinkett Smith or whatever Red Table thing. It's like, we should take notes. And you were getting ready to take notes on your phone. And I said, the time for taking notes was yesterday or last night, because I wanted to come home, have a drink, and then make notes on my computer. But I got lazy. And so I was like, the time for making notes, like the artistic mindset, it's gone. It's gone for me. So I don't know if I can do it. And then your response was,
why can't we just take notes now while we're waiting for the food?
But with the tone. It's like, It's like one of those tones that is only audible either to dogs or like that's annoying to like teenagers, like only teenagers can hear, you know? Or it's like, oh, like what? It's like, why can't we take notes now? You know? That's a bad like reenactment, but so I was like, okay, no, you're right. We can take notes. We started taking notes and some stuff, and I started feeling a certain type of way, and then knowing we were going to be in front of the camera making a podcast, I did not. I am just going to admit it. I cannot hide things, like hide my emotions. No, they just come like tumbling out, just diarrhea of the mouth. And so I'm not going to be all butthurt in front of the camera, leaning back away from the mic. It's like, yeah. What does it mean to be in a relationship? Like, just having like an attitude about it. And so I brought it up at breakfast.
You did.
And said, like I feel like there's a type of.
You said I feel like there's an abrasion
in the relationship, or not in the relationship, but just like in the reactions that we're having right now.
Yeah.
And you said, "Oh, really?"
And I was like, "Oh, really?"
And I said, "Yes."
I don't feel the abrasions, but if you say there's abrasions, then okay.
Feels like someone's taking a little bit of sandpaper and just going right across the eyelid. Just like, wow, it's not painful, but it's like it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
So we talked about that.
Yes.
And we figured out, as I look up on my phone, pay no attention to the man looking at his phone.
We figured out a few things.
Well, so the first immediate thing that you mentioned was that you felt like you were in work mode. And so that's another aside, because there is Hallease, there is like beautiful, strong-willed, like even like normal Hallease is strong-willed.
Yes.
Intelligent, loving, wife, friend, whatever. Like she's all of these things, right? Mm-hmm. When she goes on set or she knows that she's going to do something, she is of a single mind. She has like laser-like focus, and she does not deal with your garbage. She does not deal with anybody's garbage. She is solely focused, again, on the job and the task at hand.
Yeah.
And
which makes me good at my job, but...
No, that just makes you good at your job.
Yeah.
Like I've been on set with you, and you're like, no, we can't stop messing around, because it's like, we need to get the job done. And it's like, oh, okay. And then I get back into, we're not husband and wife right now. We're just like, we're doing the thing. Yeah. And then we can peel back the layer and be husband and wife afterwards. So that's what you mentioned.
I did mention that, yeah.
And I didn't know that this whole podcast thing was like, it had manifested into work. To me, it was more like, oh, we're just shooting this little thing, and like it's coming up on your channel. Excuse me, and it's going to these other like platforms and stuff as a podcast, but I didn't know it was a thing.
What do you think we were doing though?
I just didn't know that it was work. This is not really work.
I mean, so that's
to me.
Right. Yeah, I guess to you. For me, it's not work, but it is, and this ties back into, I feel like, how I'm perceived, or how being in this industry is perceived by even those closest to me, where it is like, oh, it just seems like you're just shooting the shit, and you just kind of...
Are we cursing on the podcast?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we're not. I don't know. But it seems like you're just kind of hanging out, and then, we kind of like make a podcast, and it's like, no. It takes things. It takes thought. It takes effort. I'm very focused on quality always as well. So we're... So yeah, we're hanging out, we're shooting, and we're just kind of like, recording conversations we would have anyway. But, my name is on it, so there has to be polish. I don't get the privilege of just throwing something out there.
But you also mentioned, all the analytics and the data and the numbers and
yes.
like looking at subscribers and all this other stuff. Like you're like, that's adding on to it too. The pressure of,
yeah,
one, the quality, but making sure that we're putting out content that people are actually going to digest.
And then also, but then also balancing that too with a level of authenticity that I don't want to ever lose for the sake of numbers. So, you know, I like doing this because I like having these conversations with you with the podcast, because this is authentic to me of like, if people want to see you more, this is the way that I would want to frame them to see you, because it's a very real version of you rather than me just like, look at my beige bay on the channel. And it's like, that's not.
I'm so white skinned.
Yeah, that's not what I'm trying to do, you know? So that's the other thing too. Brief announcement. Thank you for watching this Beastcast. One thing that you can do that will really help is like this video. Also, leave us a comment letting us know what you liked about this podcast, this Beastcast, what you would like us to change. If you have any topic ideas, leave them down in the comments below. And then the other big thing you can do to help with the Beastcast and supporting it is...
watch the ads.
Yeah.
Let the ads play through. Do not skip.
Please.
Please.
That really does help. We know that some of them are very long and annoying, so... hang on as long as you can. We understand if it's just too, hit that skip button. But if you can bear it, please watch it. Because that really does help. Like, I'm seeing the analytics and it's helping. It's legitimately helping.
Well, and we also know that some of these ads are like these political ads, and especially if you're in Texas and you know what's going on in Texas, be Texas strong.
Yeah, it's a mess. So, find your center. And if today ain't the day to watch an ad, we understand. But please like the video. The other thing you can do is checking us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Hallease. In there is where we post all these Beastcasts as well. And it directly goes towards continuing the Beastcast and funding this channel. So if the spirit moves you, check that out.
Yeah.
Back to the Beastcast.
That's a weird aside.
It is a weird aside.
Well, just a weird aside to like some of the comments are people like, oh, are we not acknowledging those?
Oh, yeah. Like some of the comments we'll get on the videos where we're both in them and they're like, I don't understand why he's with her because she's so dark-skinned. It's very like colorism based. And it's like, oh my.
Well, first off, like I didn't realize that I come off as so light in pigmentation on the camera. But
it's because you're in juxtaposition to me.
Well, it's like,
I'm beautifully melanated. What I'm saying?
And there's nothing wrong with being white, but it's like I am not white. I'm dark. I'm a light, like mocha.
You're pretty fair, love.
I mean, it's not...
coming from me.
I
you're
run
pretty
outside
fair
in the sun, shirtless, to gain as much, like just drink up as much of the sun as I can.
And you do. Again, it's the direct contrast to me. If you were out in the world by yourself, sure.
This is weird how much people
fixate on it.
Well, they just fixate on different like facets of it. It's like, oh, well, you're light enough.
Yeah, a lot of it's just like self-hate. Because usually the women that I see that say those comments of like, oh, I can't believe he's with her because and it's like the tone of it is very much like, oh yeah, it's because I'm dark, For me, those comments usually hurt more than like some white person dropping in and dropping the M-bomb and then peacing out, Because to me, and they don't hurt because they actually hurt my feelings. They hurt because I know it's coming from a place of like, they don't love themselves. Like they've had so much time in people, their culture surrounding saying, you're not beautiful because you're darker. You're not deserving of a good partner because you're darker. That when I see those comments, I can see like, dang, whether you're light skinned, dark skinned, whatever you are, they're just projecting that onto me, and it makes me sad.
You had all that on your mind, and then in addition to that,
yes,
there was also this thing that I innocuously brought up and didn't know that it was going to bother you.
Yeah.
Which was this gig that a coworker had, like tagged me on Facebook, which I never get on Facebook anyway. But it was just like a photography gig for a race that's coming up for, it's the American Heart Association Heart Walk. It's nationwide and stuff. You should support it. And I said, oh, okay, well, maybe she tagged me because I assume
to go run it.
Well, no, because I already signed up.
Oh, okay.
But sorry, I hit the mic. But to see if you wanted to shoot it.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that brings
its own level of frustration, if you will, because
And it seemed like I was projecting stuff, which I wasn't.
right. So in the past, when you've brought up things like that, it was usually because I think there was just a lack of understanding of the work ethic that I was putting into, the focus I was putting into, whether it be usually just like the channel specifically. Because you're not quite seeing, again, and this is another thing that people have talked about, like, oh, well, you've got the support of a spouse, so it's not that hard for you to succeed at this YouTube thing because you've got support. And it's like, that's true to a degree. That is very much true. But people also have to remember it's not just my life. Like, if I fail, it's not just me that's failing.
Man, all of this is tying together with that anyway.
Yeah, so if I fail, it's not just me that's failing. I'm letting someone else's life down too. I would have gone freelance, or not even freelance. I would have done YouTube full time a lot sooner if it was just me, if I knew that I was only letting myself down if I didn't make it. But I waited a lot longer because I knew it wasn't just my life I was affecting if I did that.
Right.
And so, yeah, you sending me like, hey, here's a gig. It's like, one, I understand where it's coming from, but at the same time, I know that I can feel that, call it divine if you will, that I need to focus on this all the time, and nothing else. And I know for other creatives that are probably watching or listening, it can be very disheartening when your family or your friends don't quite understand that focus and why that focus is necessary. And they kind of project onto you this thing of like, well, do this safe alternative that gets you temporary gains, So all of that was in my mind too when you sent that.
Well, to give more concrete context.
Okay. I'm speaking very abstractly, I guess.
In the past, I was concerned about money because there's if you've been listening to some of the podcasts or what we've been going through as far as financial and housing and all this other stuff, I get a neurosis, and it's again like a pearl. Like my brain just slowly starts building and adding more thoughts to it, and like, oh my God, what if we did this and this and that? And then so I just think like, oh my God, we need money, and so I'll suggest, like maybe you could do this, or maybe you could do this, or maybe I can go and learn more money or something. So I've mentioned stuff like that, and that was again a point of contention between the two of us a little bit. And I've stopped doing that, and I am not, or I've at least tried to stop doing it. And so this one thing, I just thought, oh, well, they do need pictures at the Heart Walk, at this event. She has a camera.
And I'm always bringing my camera with me anywhere anyway. So it's like, after you explained yourself, I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. I would have taken photos anyway.
But I didn't understand that it was going to have that effect on you.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so at breakfast, I said, oh, well, that makes sense. And then I was also thankful that we were able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And again, the difference between the two of us, and you mentioned this at breakfast.
So something for me that I'm still working through and trying to get better about doing is I'll let things slide a lot that I should actually just bring up right at the time. So much so that eventually, like, I recuse myself a lot from situations. Even when we were dating, I remember I used to do this too. Like, we'd get into a bit of a tiff, and I would literally leave the apartment and like go get a donut or something.
Mm-hmm.
I would make, what do they call it? A French exit. Just leave, just bounce, which is not good when you're trying to communicate effectively with a partner. Whereas Mr.Hallease, actually, on the other hand, is not like that. He immediately, when he feels that there has been a rift or a change in like the equilibrium of the relationship, that is a good one, he immediately brings it up. So much so that sometimes it's this stuff like you were bringing up this stuff, and to me, I didn't even think anything of it.
Right.
I was just kind of like, I just need you to be quiet so I can record this thing, or I just want to take notes because I want to always put out the best product I can put out. And thinking, oh, well, last night was the time to take notes and this morning isn't. It's like, I mean, you're right. Ideally, we would do it last night, but nothing is ideal and we're waiting for food. So let's like do what we can now.
Right.
You know? And so I'm just going to not bring anything up until it builds up so bad that I just blow up at somebody. That's how I roll. Whereas Mr. Hallease just brings it up immediately. He squashes it before it can ever be a thing.
Well, no, so that's not true. So I'll do the same thing of just blowing stuff off if it's just like a little minor annoyance. But if it, in my brain, if it feels so big that it comes to the forefront of my thoughts and I can't push anything else in front of it, like and this happens at work, like I'll try to do work, but I keep thinking about that, then it's like you've done before. It's like, well, there's no point to working. Like I need to address this.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's going to like take up the entirety of my day and I will not be constructive.
Right. But I guess for me, the level, like the way we gauge those perspectives is very different. So like I said, I didn't think anything I was doing was that crazy. But then he brought it up. So I was like, oh, and we know enough about each other where it's like, oh, well, you brought it up. So obviously it is something.
Right. Well, I mean, it's, if you watch a series, so we watch Bob's Burgers all the time on Hulu, sponsor us Hulu. We can spout lines. We know which episode is which. I mean, so when you see something or you've read a book enough, then if there's a small change, so let's say like I'm watching a YouTube video of Bob's Burgers or something and like someone had done an edit and it's like, I know that's off. It's like, so you just recognize it. And it's not to say that we're like in a rut or anything, but it's like, I know if I were to know that there was something wrong with anybody, it would be you. I don't have that same emotional intelligence that you do. But yeah, if I should know that something's wrong, I should know that something's wrong with you.
I will notice, actually, this is a prime example. Last night you were working out, negotiating some stuff, right? Yeah, was it last night? Night before. The night before you were working out, negotiating some stuff, and you brought your laptop into here for me to look at and read it and critique, right? And so I remember as I was critiquing it, I started using language that I could tell offended you a little bit, just in the way your tone shifted. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that, and then I just pulled back, right? But I mean, I didn't pull, like I said it again, but I tweaked the language.
Softened it a little bit.
Yes.
Well, at least you softened it enough. But again, it's like, I know that you're not saying it to hurt me. And again, right. Like the two things that you did this morning, I know that you're not doing them, again,
not
with malicious intent.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not trying to make you feel terrible.
Right. So I just know that there must be something else that's working behind that. So with the comments that you made with me negotiating stuff, I knew you were trying to make a point. And so I was trying to see it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then once I reread it, having heard what you said, I was like, oh yeah, we can just delete this whole thing.
Right. Yeah. But it's like, it takes a certain level of like, almost, I guess, trust in the other person.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah, I still like, now that like, once you made me sit there and think about it at breakfast, I was like, oh yeah, and I guess what's bothering me is this, or this is just a frame of mind that I get in when this is happening or when someone mentions this, and then I project that frustration onto you. Sorry about that.
Well,
you
so
know,
like, people's emotions are like an egg, right? So like in a marriage, you have an egg with each other's like emotions. It like essentially like, and so it's very like an egg is strong, right?
Mm-hmm. Ish.
Well, I mean, it can take some abuse, but knowing what to do in certain situations, if I were to grab the egg and pick it up and hold it, I'm using just enough force to move the egg around and get it to where I want it to be, right? To manipulate it. Mm-hmm. But if I were to like grab it and throw it against the wall,
right,
or like grab it and crush it,
yeah,
or it's like you just need to know what to do with your partner in certain situations, and that takes time.
You have to grant yourself some patience, like grant yourself some grace and patience, and then also grant your partner that too. So something I appreciate about you is that now I've gotten to the point where when you do pull me aside and it's like something's wrong, even if I don't think something is, I hear you out because it's more about understanding my own ish, if you will, and realizing that, oh, he can see something in me that I'm not seeing that's problematic and should be addressed. Because again, it's kind of like what we talked about in the last episode with like you going home to your parents and then me saying like, no, you need to deal with this now, because then you come home, because we come back and what you bring back into the relationship is toxic.
Right.
And I don't want to be around it. So for you, that's kind of like what you were doing this morning. You're like, I don't know what's going on with you, but something's happening and you're being toxic right now.
Well, but I also know that the podcasts, so you had made it clear that the podcasts were important to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like they don't directly influence me, but I know the podcasts are important to you. And so if I were to carry this burden, this emotional like baggage all throughout the podcast, so it's going to affect the podcast, one.
Right.
Secondly, it's going to put me in a really bad mood.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, like the whole day is going to be gone.
Yeah.
Be like concerning A and B or 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just knew that it just needed to be addressed so I could get in a better mindset and be better for these podcasts.
That's true. Maybe it comes down to there's a certain level of not selfishness, but like set yourself up to succeed. If you know you're going to be a certain type of way with your partner, set it up so you're not a certain type of way with your partner. You know, take what you need. And I think it gets easier to come at into situations of conflict from a loving place.
Right.
As you spend more time together. That's this episode, I guess.
We are not perfect.
We are not perfect.
Stuff happens.
Whew, we be working through conflict just like the rest of y'all.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to be butterfly farts and unicorn giggles, you know?
Do butterflies fart?
I think it's unicorn farts and butterfly giggles is what I've said. But anyway.
Do butterflies giggle or fart? I'll Google that later.
They might. Anyway, I mean, we're not trying to present like the Instagram life, right? Where you're curating every little thing.
Nah, we ain't gonna do that.
You put in front of the camera or the mic or whatever.
Yeah, that ain't what this is.
But we do love each other.
We do.
Sometimes. I like looking in the left direction. Looking at you to the right of me was just kind of weird.
Really? So this should be the way we're set up.
And also I feel more comfortable.
Okay. If this is your strong side.
This is our cage. It's like, I am comfortable in the cage. This is my den.
All right.
You train a dog.